Hey there, today I wanted to do a quick review on this, I think it's an 8.8 inch Android head unit, and this will fit in A4, S4, and this here is an Allroad. This thing is a mess. So when you buy this radio, there's no instructions. You'll get no instructions. So I've had this thing for way over a month, and I've been figuring it out, and I'm finally satisfied enough to make a video about it, and maybe even to recommend it. So when I got this radio installed, there were three main things I did not like. So first off was the fit and finish. So part of this is, I mean, I can fix this, but see, this doesn't really go in that well. And I also broke my vent over here, but that's probably my fault. That's pretty easy and cheap to fix. I just haven't gotten around to it. So the fit and finish is annoying. Also, there's going to be some parts that you need that aren't included with this, depending on where you buy it. Now, first off is going to be a little airbag light harness, and I'll link this radio where I bought it, and also the link to the harness. It's about $8 on AliExpress, and you need that in order for your airbag light to go off. And also, when you're setting this up, make sure you take a good look at that harness, because the connector that only has 2 wires goes here, and then the connector that has all the wires goes to the factory button that you'll have to pull off of your trim here and then just shove into the back of the dashboard. So that's the thing you'll need. And you'll also need, let's see, I don't know if I have one here. This is my mess of cables. You'll need an MMI cable. Now this one is, I don't even know how I got this to work as an aux cable, but you'll need an MMI cable that's modified to work as an aux cable. I think I changed some sort of resistor in here. However, if you don't want to modify this, I'd say if you have this, maybe you want to modify it because the resistor is like $1. But you can just get the one with the aux connector on it, which oh, here it is. This one right here. So this was not included with my kit. Yes, you absolutely need this. You absolutely need this. Sorry. But you won't plug anything into it. You literally could just cut this and keep that nugget there, which I may do with this. And you just need to have that plugged into your AMI. Now, if you don't have AMI, I don't know how this radio works, but I feel like most of us have AMI, so that's what I'm going to base this off of. So I have everything pulled apart here. Well, not everything. This is kind of a pain to get on. I'm not going to take it apart to show you guys, but I only got one of those the top screws in to that screen. But yeah, you'll be able to figure out how to put that in. For the reverse camera, I did wire a factory. This car did not have a reverse camera, as you can see, it's a base model. I did wire a reverse camera, a factory one. You can get a factory reverse camera and just buy a generic RCA, yellow RCA cable with that power lead on it. And the camera works sometimes. I don't know if it's because my crappy crimps back there. The wires are super thin, so it's kind of difficult to crimp, or it could be a bad ground. I still have to figure that out. But the backup camera did work with this, a factory one too, which is super cool. So if you have an Allroad or an A4 or an S4 with no backup camera, go on eBay, buy a factory Audi one for about $40, and then get just a generic RCA backup camera wire, and you should be able to wire it up. And I actually wired it. I never took out my glove box at all for this install. I wired the RCA cable up this way, which was kind of difficult, but you can grab it from down there. I mean, you probably can see it's probably still kind of hanging out there, but you can grab it from down there and pull it up down to the climate controls and then up into this. Anyways, so my second problem with this was the CarPlay. This is wireless CarPlay, would cut in and out all the time. So I ended up fixing that. Now, you may never have this problem. When I bought this, it had a little Wi-Fi antenna with some adhesive on it, and I just stuck it right to the back of the unit, which probably wasn't the best idea. This does have 4G LTE, which I will never use. So what I ended up doing is I took the unit apart, and you'll see covered in silicone, there are 4 antenna ports, and they're all labeled. If you remove the silicone, and you just want to switch the Wi-Fi one to the 4G LTE one, use that 4G LTE antenna as your Wi-Fi antenna, and the CarPlay cuts in and out, I don't know, every couple hours of driving. It's been really good. That's totally acceptable, where before it was just all the time and it really bugged me. And then the most important thing was the audio quality. And I've been fighting with the seller on this because I just feel like it's been ridiculous. And the problem is the head unit would not output loud enough audio And when you turn this up, no matter what system you have, if you plug in an MMI cable and you crank the volume, you'll hear some interference. Just a little bit of hissing, which you can hear that now, maybe. It's not very loud, but there is interference no matter what you have going on. But the unit was barely outputting anything, and it also was interfering. There's some sort of ground loop with the coils. I could hear when I revved the engine up, I could hear the coils or injectors firing through the speakers, which was kind of interesting, honestly. But I've resolved that. The seller could not resolve that. I just had some free time today, so I'm like, all right, I'll tear the radio apart and try some things. So this connector right here, this is in the factory quad block, and this you can pop out with a little needle. Pop this blue one out, and that fixes the problem. I was just inspecting the wiring harness. So the harness is weird where it has an aux cable on it. And that's how I got the best audio before I popped that out. The seller recommended I buy a ground loop isolator thing. Because when I plugged the aux cable in before, it would just make this terrible screeching sound. And somehow this fixed the screeching sound. I had my doubts, but it did for $8. And it made the sound a little bit better. So that's how I was running it before, was an aux cable running out here and into my glove box, because again, I didn't want to take the glove box out. But if you just pop that blue thing out, that was connected to that aux wire. So I just was like, all right, I'll start unplugging stuff and see what happens. Unplug that, put everything together, and it sounds great now. It's super loud, and there's no interference. So I'm super happy about that. So yeah, I honestly have almost no complaints about this radio anymore. Now, one other thing, before you button this all up, I just did this now. One really cool thing is, I think maybe if you have the nav dial here, you can control the CarPlay with the nav dial down there. But on my car, you also can control with the steering wheel. Okay, well, it usually works. It's not working right now for some weird reason. I've never had it not work. Oh, there it's lagging. See, it's going now. Well, usually it works great. That's really weird. Let me restart it. I've never had it do that before. I'll just restart yeah, the whole thing is kind of frozen. Well, this isn't too great. Maybe it's because I'm recording a video now and connected to CarPlay. I'll stop the video real quick and see if I can get that to work. Okay, sure enough, I can't use the CarPlay while the video is going. Okay, it's kind of responsive now, but you can see I can control that with my thumb on the steering wheel, which I think is super cool, especially because one of my favorite things to do is just skip through songs and keep my finger on the skip button. But the steering wheel, unlike the Volkswagens of its era, does not have skip controls. But yeah, you could just come down to the skip, and you can navigate basically all of CarPlay with this one dial, but your digital speedometer will disappear, which sucks. And the way you get it back is you hit the mode button. But the mode button is also the home button for the stereo over here, the radio. So you would hit the mode button, and then I have to come over here and tap Z-Link in order to get the CarPlay back. And that literally defeats the whole purpose of being able to control with the steering wheel if I still have to tap the screen. But what I noticed is the nav button is programmable. So now what I have it doing is you hit mode and then nav, and then you're back. And okay, sometimes this pops up, but you can just hit. When I push that button, it skipped the track and ended the video. But as you can see, that's something you'll want to activate, and I'll show you how to do that. So you'll go here into car, and I'll show you why you need to have it all taken apart first, or maybe not. But if you go to navigate settings, you'll see Google Maps is the default, I think, or it may be like the Navite or whatever. But as you can see, there's no Z-Link in here. So what you need is a mouse, not a Bluetooth mouse, because for whatever reason you can't connect a Bluetooth mouse to this. But with the mouse, you can scroll down in Z-Link 5 right there. That's going to be what you want to set, and I hit OK. And now that nav button is mapped, and you can map that button to anything. So Torque's on here. I got HBO on here too. So I think that's kind of a cool feature there. Also, more setting. If you go into sound, this you can drag up too if you need a little bit more volume. For whatever reason, I can't get it to just be at full all the time. When it reboots, it comes back down. So that's one other weird thing about this unit. And then you can click this button here, and this takes you back into the factory unit. So I can still go to car and look at my oil level, which is super cool that you can still check that out. And also like sync your climate control, which I hate that this is deep in a menu. And then you just tap the screen once and that takes you right back in. Oh, another gripe with this, the climate controls, if you adjust them, for whatever reason they're not, because I have the system off, but how it works in the factory screen, when you adjust the climate controls, it shows up on the MMI screen. It does that, but it's completely wrong, at least for temperature. But then for the fan setting and the direction of where the air is coming out, that is accurate. But yeah, just no, you'll have to look down if you want to see what your temperature's at. But yeah, I guess that's just a quick overview of this head unit. I think they're about $250. As tested here is the 128 gigabyte and 6 gig of RAM model. I just bought the best one because I wanted no issues at all, and I got tons of issues. But they're all fixed now. I'm actually really happy with this unit. So yeah, if you don't even want to wire a backup camera, then you don't even have to take the glove box out. It's super easy. Just make sure to get that airbag connector if you don't want an airbag light, which nobody does. And make sure you have either a modified MMI cable or just one of these, because this did not come with mine. And they're real cheap, so if it ends up coming with it, oh well. And yeah, it's a relatively easy install. I wouldn't say it's a super easy install, but given that the glove box doesn't have to come out, if you're not wiring a backup camera, if you have a factory backup camera, it should work with that. There's a setting for it. I just don't have, I'm not able to test that, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it sounds good with this removed. And yeah, I'm overall pretty satisfied for the price. I did get a partial refund because I kept complaining about the audio and they could not fix it. It was a very simple thing. And they told me to buy all this junk that was just kind of a band-aid and not the real fix. So overall, I only spent about 150 bucks, but for you guys, it'd be about $250. And I'll link the same seller that I got it from. They seem to be somewhat reasonable. I mean, it took me months to get some money back, but anything you buy on AliExpress, it's kind of yours. I actually ordered the wrong one first, and it's still in my bedroom, and I can't return it. No one wants to buy it from me. Yeah, overall, 250 bucks. This is a pretty cool unit, and I'm pretty happy with it.